Tes. Cek, checking 1, 2. Halo, dicoba. 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 Cek, cek 1, 2. 1, 2, 1. Iya, emang ada delaynya. Memang delay sekitar 2, 3 detik atau 4, 5 detik. Checking 1, 2. Cek, cek. Tes sound, tes sound, tes sound. Tes sound. Tes sound, tes. Cek, cek 1, 2 dicoba. Selamat pagi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for allocating your busy time to coming to this event. Thank you to our honorable guests from UTHM Malaysia for flying all the way from Malaysia to come to Yogyakarta. Before we start the event, allow me to read out today's agenda, starting with the opening and welcoming speech from Dr. Agus Harjoko, continued by the speech from UTHM, and then the two public lectures given by Dr. Yunita and Dr. Nurul Hidayah, continued by the certificates and souvenirs, and then lunch, prayer, and our lab and campus tour. Without further ado, let's start off with our first agenda, that is the opening and welcoming speech from our head of department, Dr. Agus Harjoko. Since he is not here, I would like, sorry. We welcome you to the stage.
Okay. Probably I need this one later on. Thank you. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is a great pleasure for us to be able to host our dearest guest from UTHM. This is probably first visit, at least while I am in my position as the head of the department. As far as I remember, this is the first visit from UTHM. Just correct me if I am wrong. So again, it is really a great pleasure for us. I hope that your visit to Yogyakarta, to our department, will be fruitful. And we are, of course, expecting further collaborations, not only visiting and having a joint seminar like this. We might be able to do more on this one because we have enough number of students. I believe that you also have enough number of students. I was just given a brief by Bu. I'm not quite sure how to address you, even though I get your card here. Which one is Ibu Nurul or Ibu Hidayah? Ibu Nurul, okay. That UTHM has 4 departments, and each department has a study program running from undergraduate, master to PhD degree. Whereas we are under the Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, there are 4 departments in our faculties, and we are just one of the 4 departments. Our departments, the Department of Computer Science and Elektronika, has 4 study programs, 2 study programs for undergraduate degree, one in electronic and instrumentation, the other one is in computer science. For computer science, we have a regular class and also international class. Expecting to have more international exposure for the international undergraduate class in computer science. We have 1 master program in computer science and 1 PhD program in computer science. But the research fields are basically supported by 5 research labs running from hardware side to the software applications and also the theoretical. So we feel that we are enough to be able to collaborate with most department who offers degrees related to information technology, computer science, information system. And we are really grateful that we have this meeting, and we invite our students. We have PhD students here coming. We have master students. I believe also we have undergraduate students. So just to be like to get more benefit for the talks of the two experts who are going to speak on their field of expertise. But I'm not really fortunate because I cannot follow the program. I cannot attend the program until the end because I have a class at 10:30. Actually, I should have, my class was ended at 10, but I stopped at 9:30 and I continue with the online discussion. So I will not be around for a long time. So I'm sorry if while the meeting is going on, then I have to leave the meeting. If later on during the lunchtime, there is also a meeting for especially the faculty staff for 3 of our guests here who are representing the faculty at the UTHM. I will be happy to meet again during the lunchtime, but again I have a class also at 1:30. This is a replacement class. It's not normal to have 3 classes during one day, simply because like last week was, my class was scheduled on Wednesday, and Wednesday was Idul Adha. So I have to replace that class today. Okay, once again, thank you very much and hope that this program will be running successfully at the end of the day. And you enjoy Yogyakarta, enjoy Gajah Mada University, and we are expecting for the next visit. And we also expect to be able to visit UTHM in Johor, which is different than Johor Bahru, isn't it? But anyway, I haven't been there, so who knows, in short time I will be there. Okay, once again, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for this speech, Dr. Agus Harjoko. Next is a speech given by one of the representatives from UTHM. So, Dr. Nurul. Oh yeah, sorry. Dr. Nurul, would you please come to the stage?
Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. Right, so the respected head of department, Dr. Agus, okay, Dr. Eni from UTHM, Puan Munira, Dr. Chua, all lecturers from UGM, students from UGM and also from UTHM. So first of all, thank you very much for welcoming us. This is such a warm welcome. We are so grateful and happy. And yes, this is our first time, I mean specifically from our Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. So this is our first visit to here. And this is a program we call a mobility program. So far, this is our second time conducting the mobility program. Last year, we went to Telkom University in Bandung. It was a good visit in Bandung because we managed to send our student for doing the intern. So here, we are also welcome for any suggestion for future collaboration, okay? And for introduction, a brief introduction, our faculty, we have 4 departments. We have information security, multimedia, software engineering, and web technology. Okay, so we have 4 Bachelor of Computer Science program, majoring in those faculties, those departments. And also we have Bachelor in IT program. Okay, So, and also we have a master's and a PhD. Okay, so we are very happy if any of you want to have a visit to UTHM. Okay. All right, and actually this program, this mobility program, is conducted, okay, together with Students Club. We call it ITC, Information Technology Club. And actually I would like to pass the welcoming speech to our student representative, Muhammad Izzat, okay, to give further speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera. Yang berbahagia Dr. Agus Harjoko, Ketua Jabatan Sains Komputer dan Elektronik Universitas Gajah Mada. Yang berusaha Dr. Ani Kartika Sari, Pensyarah Jabatan Sains Komputer dan Elektronik Universiti Gajah Mada. Yang berbahagia Dr. Nurul Hidayah Binti Abdul Rahman, Penyelaras Mobiliti Fakultas Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat Universiti Tun Hussein On. Yang berusaha Puan Munirah binti Muhammad Yusof dan Dr. Chua Chai Wen, Pensyarah pengiring Jabatan Fakultas Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat UTHM, para pensyarah UGM, para jawatan kuasa majlis dan rakan-rakan seperjuangan sekalian. Alhamdulillah, pertama sekali saya ingin mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi kesyukuran kehadrat Ilahi kerana dengan limpah kurnianya kita dapat berkumpul pada pagi yang indah ini. Seterusnya, saya ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada yang berbahagia Dr. Agus Harjoko dan juga pihak dari Jabatan Sains Komputer dan Elektronik Universitas Gajah Mada di atas kesudian untuk menerima kunjungan kami dari Fakultas Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat UTHM. Saya juga ingin mengucapkan syabas dan tahniah kepada semua ahli jawatan kuasa yang bertungkus lumus menjayakan penganjuran program ini agar dapat memberikan banyak manfaat pada semua yang terlibat. Hadirin yang dikasihi sekalian, sebelum saya meneruskan ucapan saya dengan lebih lanjut, izinkan saya untuk memperkenalkan sedikit tentang FSKTM dan ITC. FSKTM adalah salah satu fakulti yang ditubuhkan oleh UTHM pada September 2000 yang diberi nama Jabatan Teknologi Maklumat dan Multimedia JTMM. Pada Mei 2004, fakulti ini terus berkembang dengan penubuhan Fakulti Teknologi Maklumat dan Multimedia FTMM yang terletak di kampus bandar Batu Pahat, Johor. Lembaga Pengarah UTHM bersetuju untuk penjenamaan semula FTMM menjadi Fakulti Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat FSKTM pada 24 Ogos 2010. 4 jabatan baru juga ditubuhkan, iaitu Jabatan Kejuruteraan Perisian, Jabatan Multimedia, Jabatan Rangkaian Komputer dan Jabatan Keselamatan Komputer. Fakulti ini menawarkan sebanyak 5 program di peringkat ijazah sarjana muda, 5 program di peringkat ijazah sarjana dan 1 program di peringkat Doktor Falsafah. Information Technology Club ataupun ITC pula adalah sebuah kelab naungan pelajar-pelajar FSKTM. Kelab ini berperanan dalam memfokuskan kepada perkongsian dan penyebaran maklumat atau aktiviti terkini yang dianjurkan oleh pihak kelab, fakulti ataupun universiti. ITC merupakan platform dalam merapatkan hubungan antara pihak universiti dan pensyarah. Dengan pelajar-pelajar FSKTM dalam mendapatkan info-info terkini dan bertanggungjawab dalam mengatur serta menjalankan segala aktiviti-aktiviti yang melibatkan pelajar-pelajar di FSKTM. Selain itu juga, ITC menggalakkan pelajar supaya tidak hanya fokus kepada akademik semata-mata, tetapi pelajar didedahkan kepada aktiviti-aktiviti luar seperti program mobility ke Universiti Telkom, Code Run, Hacking for Dummies, bengkel pengatur caraan PHP, mendaki Gunung Datuk dan pelbagai lagi aktiviti diuruskan sepenuhnya oleh pelajar-pelajar yang menyertai ITC. Hadirin yang dihormati sekalian, saya mewakili rakan-rakan dan pihak FSKTM, UTHM, amat berbesar hati merayakan program FSKTM Exploration and Academic Mobility 2018 di Universitas Gajah Mada, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, di mana program ini secara tidak langsung akan merapatkan lagi hubungan silaturahim di antara dua negara. Seperti hadirin yang sedia maklum, program ini diharap dapat menggalakkan pelajar saling bertukar pandangan dan idea tentang teknologi ICT negara masing-masing, di mana setiap negara mempunyai kehebatan yang tersendiri. Selain itu, diharap juga pelajar dapat mempelajari perkara-perkara yang baru sepanjang program ini berlangsung sambil dapat mengenali budaya unik tersendiri masyarakat ini. Akhir kata, besarlah harapan kami supaya program ini dapat dijalankan dengan lancar tanpa sebarang masalah. Program ini seharusnya dikekalkan untuk memberi peluang kepada pelajar-pelajar lain untuk merasakan sendiri pengalaman menimba ilmu ICT di negara ini, dan secara tidak langsung menambahkan minat yang lebih mendalam dalam bidang sains komputer dan teknologi maklumat. Saya menyokong penuh penganjuran program sebegini yang akan memberi banyak manfaat kepada semua. Sebelum saya mengakhiri ucapan saya, sekali lagi saya ingin merakamkan ucapan terima kasih kepada semua yang terlibat dalam menjayakan program ini. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the speech, Dr. Nurul Hidayah and the student representative, Muhammad Izzat Ismail. And now off to our next agenda is the public lecture, which will be given by Dr. Yunita Sari with the title of Authorship Attribution Using NLP to Uncover Author's Identity. We welcome you to the stage.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I'm very sorry for the delay. So it's kind of like every time that when we're dealing with the projector or something, it's always like a lot of computer scientists cannot solve it somehow. All right. So first, it is my great pleasure to welcome you here, and it is my great pleasure to share some of my research with all of you here. And feel free to ask an equation if you want. And then, basically, I love, engaging session rather than just like I just talked to you for like 1 hour probably. All right. So without further ado, so this is my title for my talk today. So this is about authorship attribution using NLP to uncover author's identity. All right, next. So probably some of you is already familiar with NLP, natural language processing, which is basically intersection between artificial intelligence and linguistic. So some of the scientists probably call it as computational linguistic than natural language processing. I guess it refers to the same thing. And it is actually a branch of artificial intelligence that helps computers to understand, interpret, and manipulate human language. So basically, we try to ask computer, to train computers so it has a skill as human to understand the language, the human language. All right, so we probably already knew that NLP is very useful. It has been used in many applications. Well, it's actually, we are a Google user, I guess. So most of us already use Google Translate. And then, we may use Alexa. Is any of you using Alexa before? Or probably Cortana, Siri, or other applications. There are so many NLP applications that have been used today. And then, as you know here, more and more companies are applying natural language processing application to everyday business problems. All right, next. But the thing is, NLP gets hard, right? So the first, I don't think it's a bit too small, I guess, or it is. Can you see it from the back? All right. So the first thing is this example of some NLP task in which I think is kind of like challenging. Well, the first one is part of speech here. Part of speech is the task of natural language processing in which we need to assign POS tag to the words in a sentence. So for example, like we have the sentence of Mrs. Clinton previously worked for Mr. Obama, but she's now distancing herself from him. So we need to assign like which word is categorized as noun, as verb, as preposition, as well, and many of them. So it's kind of like very challenging because, I'm talking in English. I mean, like this is because the most common NLP task is usually in English. And then the second task here, the second example here is name entity recognition. For example, like we have a sentence like Mrs. Clinton previously worked for Mr. Obama. So this is the same sentence, but basically we need to assign the entity for each of the, we have to identify the entity in this sentence. For example, like we're gonna assign a person to Clinton and Obama, and then we assign previously as a date, and now as well as a date. So for us, for human, it is very easy, right? Because, we can just directly identify that Clinton is name, and then previously and now is referring to date and time. The other example of an NLP task is co-reference. So as you can see here that in this sentence, basically, there is a she and then herself, which is referring to Mrs. Clinton, right? Well, for us, it's very easy to know that herself and she is referring to Mrs. Clinton, and then him is referring to Mr. Obama. But for the computer, it is very hard, right? So it is just like an example of some basic NLP tasks. And usually this basic NLP task will be used for more advanced tasks such as, well, I don't know, probably machine translation, fact extraction, and so on. All right, next. All right, another challenge that probably quite powerful right now is image captioning. So there are 3 images here, and then we need to assign caption for each of the image. So for example, in left, we have man in black shirt is playing guitar. So we need to know why we should assign those sentence. We need to identify what kind of object in the image. So it's very challenging, right? So we need to know whether the human there is man or woman. And the other example is like here, 2 young girls are playing with Lego toy. So, well, there's a baby here, and I believe this is her mom. And we do not know yet whether it is girl or boy, right? But, well, it's probably like so far what the computer could do right now on assigning a caption to images. All right, so it is probably like a quite challenging task because it's kind of like intersection between the image processing and also natural language processing as well. All right. Next. So what I want to talk today is one of the tasks of NLP called authorship attribution. Probably some of you ever heard about it. So it is part of philometry, actually, the study of writing style. So authorship attribution can be defined as the task of identifying the author of a text. So you can say it is like almost similar like text classification. You're probably already familiar with topic classification or sentiment analysis. So it's kind of like a bit similar, but, well, it's different in some way as well. So, well, the difference is because it is a unique task which is closely related to both the representation of individuals' writing style and text categorization. So it is not just we categorize based on the topic, but also we need to identify the writing style of the author as well. So the most like early implementation of authorship attribution is back in, I think, 1880 something. So the case of the Federalist paper, if you ever heard about it. So there are 85 essays that have been published to persuade the people of New York to accept the new constitution. And then it was published under publicist name, so like anonymous. And then readily it has been known that there are 3 authors who were writing the essay, which is Hamilton, Madison, and Jay. It's kind of like quite popular if you are from the background of linguistics. All right, next. All right, so the example is here. So let's say I have 3 texts. It is like a snippet from a document. So where here I'm talking about the digital text, not the handwritten, because I believe that handwritten would be goes into the image processing more rather than the natural language processing. So, well, I have 3 texts here. Is anyone here could identify which one of the 2 has been written by the same author or different author? So there are 2 texts that have been written by the same author? Can you spot it, probably? Well, it is hard, right? Yeah, it is very hard. So that's why it is. So that's why in the first place I said that it is different with topic classification and sentiment analysis in a way that in topic classification or sentiment analysis, human can easily recognize the class of the document, right? But here, given these three documents, it is hard to identify which are the document that has been written by the same author. Well, it is actually the text 1 and text 2 written by the same author. So the thing is, what makes authorship attribution is hard because it is probably easy if we have been given two documents written by two very different authors which has different background. For example, like, well, Albert Einstein and then Shakespeare. So you can easily spot that it will belong to one author, right? But let's say we have been given like a student essay and then in the same topic. So it would be very hard. So for example, like this one, it is actually the data set that I got it from the IMDb. So it is IMDb review. IMDb, you know IMDb, right? So it is a review of movies and it has been written by the same author. So there is no specific topic here that discussed by the author, but we need to spot the style of the author. All right. So next. So this is actually like the most common authorship attribution system with supervised machine learning approach. So we have a training phase here and testing phase. So for example, like given two training document there from author A and author B. So there are some steps that we need to do before later we have been given like a unlabeled document, and then we could guess or we could identify who is the most likely author. So there are some steps there like feature extraction, feature selection, classifier training, and then during the testing phase, it's basically when we are given the document with unknown author here, we need to do the same thing, the feature extraction, feature selection, and then we already have the attribution model from the training phase, right? And then we could we could estimate the most likely author for the unknown document. So it's kind of like the most common authorship attribution system. All right? So the common structure for authorship attribution is actually the information from the document itself, right? Like lexical can be like a word length, sentence length, vocabulary richness, word frequency, and then character, such as character type, like whether it is digit or punctuation or so on, and then character engrams, and then syntactic features such as part-of-speech tag, sentence and phrase structure, and then also like a semantic feature such as synonym, semantic dependencies, and then based on the previous result that some of them are known to be effective for identifying authors, such as character engram and function word. So function word is something like and, to, in, and so on. Right. So, well, the role of authorship attribution is kind of like the most known. It can be used for plagiarism detection, and also for, well, I believe it also can be useful for digital forensic purpose. So, is there any one of you here is a fan of Harry Potter? No? All right. So, well, if you are a fan of Harry Potter or, well, J.K. Rowling, you know that there is one of her book called the cuckoo's calling. Does anyone know about that? All right. So surprisingly, the book has been published in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. So J.K. Rowling used the pen name Robert Galbraith for her book, The Cuckoo's Calling. So it's kind of like she doesn't want like the pressure because of the previous like, well, you know that Harry Potter has been like booming, and then she doesn't like the pressure of the reviews because of this kind of like probably quite different with the Harry Potter. So well, I think we can go to the next slide. So there's an article in Wall Street Journal actually that talk about the science that uncover J.K. Rowling literally hocus pocus. So this is like the application of authorship attribution. It's actually some of the scientists from, I believe, from the U.S. trying to analyze and run authorship attribution analysis in order to know whether the Cuckoo's Calling is actually written by J.K. Rowling. So next. So the thing that the scientists did is actually they gather some training document from some authors, which is the genre of the novel is kind of like quite similar, like detective-based novel. So there are four authors. They sample document from that: P.D. James, Rod Randall, Paul McDermott, J.K. Rowling. I think all of them are based on the UK. So using just like quite easy, quite simple features such as like word frequency and then word length, has been revealed that the Cuckoo's Calling is actually been written by J.K. Rowling. So this is like one of the application of the authorship attribution, and I guess it's kind of like it is applied for, well, if some of you got like blackmail, and then you get someone to like you are suspicious of sending blackmail to you, it's probably you could apply authorship attribution in order to know who's blackmailing you. All right, next. All right. The other things about authorship attribution is because it's not just like identifying the author of document, but it also doing profiling of the document as well. So given the document, we could identify the demographic profile of the document, of the author. So like the demographic profile can be a gender, age, personality traits, and then emotion, native language, education level, or even if you search some papers already explore like the income rate of an author given their text. So next, some interesting fact here. So the first thing is like people in different age groups tend to discuss different topics. So for example, like teenagers discuss more about friends and mood swing. People in 20s mostly talk about college life, while people in 30s or up discuss more about financial concerns, marriage, politics, and family life. It's kind of like quite true, right? Right, and then here, women and men actually have different topic preferences. It's actually, I'm not really agree with this, but it's kind of like a bit more stereotyping here. Like female bloggers tend to write more personal things, while posts by male bloggers are dominated by topics related to politics and technology. Well, it's not 100% true actually, right? Because it's kind of like, it would be, depends on the background of the author as well, right? The next thing is, different age group has its own writing style. So the most notable difference is, are in the usage of block words, pronoun, determiner, and preposition. For example, like teenage more commonly used block words such as, lol, haha, your, and some pronouns such as I, you, she, he. So, probably in Bahasa, teenagers love to, well, using this kind of words, right? All right, so the thing is, the thing that we are not aware of our writing style is because we actually have our own writing style, which is we are not aware of it. For example, like probably I prefer to use like in addition to for conjunction between sentence, and then some of you probably love to use like more. So somehow we are unaware of it, and then we can use it as a like an indicator to identify the authors. So there's an idea of making the writing style as authorial fingerprint, because it's kind of like we have our own style. All right, next. So the other thing is authorship verification. So it's a bit different with author profiling and but it's a bit similar with authorship attribution, in which we have set of a non-document by a given author here, and then we have an input here, a document equation, and authorship. So we have a non-document, and the task is basically try to identify whether both of the documents were written by the same or different authors. So it is more challenging because we need to like identify the threshold, the similarity threshold between documents in which the threshold like goes into the same class or a different class. All right, next. So the other thing is there is called adversarial stylometry. So it is also a bit different with authorship attribution. So, well, it's probably applied for a current trend right now. Let's say I write a document, and then I don't want that people know that the author is me. So I'm trying to obfuscate the document by changing like the structure, the choice of word, the style, so that it is hard to identify that the author, the original author, is me. So it is kind of like the opposite of author verification. So, for example, there, Alice publishes automatically obfuscated tag. So she kind of like change all the structure of the document. It's not changing the topic, but more changing on the like how she writes. And then the document is received by if, and then if here automatically verifies authorship. So this kind of like adversarial stylometry is kind of like the challenge for the authorship verification. So once we have a good author verification, we need to do the opposite by obfuscating the document and then trying that whether the authorship verification could identify whether it is from the original author or not. All right, so far, any question? Probably? Well, this is actually one of the evaluation forum in authorship attribution that I want you to know. So there is an evaluation forum which is it will be held. It usually held annually. So it's called PAN. You can check it on this URL here. So PAN is a series of scientific events and short tasks on digital text forensic and stylometry. So it's basically there are some tasks that have been over, like author identification, author profiling, author obfuscation, and then the organizer will give data and also system, and we just need to, well, write some code, of course, and then submit our system and try whether our system could have like good accuracy or precision. So what I like from this task is basically because it's open source. I mean, like all the participants here will share their code You can check. There are some GitHub code on that, and the publication is also available. And then the task is kind of like more advanced, getting advanced by the years. All right, next. Sorry, next. All right. So what I like from this evaluation forum is because the organizer will provide you with a server. So you have been access for a server. It can be based on the Ubuntu or Windows. And then, well, basically you could do anything with the server. You could install, you could, well, do anything with the server. And then you have to submit the software, the code that you write into the server. So, and then it's actually the server will run the code and then will evaluate whether how the output of your system. So it's kind of like, I think it's very useful for, well, I don't know, it's probably undergraduate student here if you want to kind of like make your programming skill a bit more advanced, I guess. And the thing is, because it will be evaluated, and in the end of the day, the score will be released, so you will know how good your approach is. Right. All right. So, well, I've been talking about the background of authorship attribution for a while. So, well, I'd like to share a bit more technical thing about my research. So, you might be aware that I've been talking about that in authorship attribution there are two features which are very important: topic or style, right? So I mean, like if we are given two documents and then the topic is very different, so it can be easily identified which one is written by which author. But the style is also important here because, well, as I have been showing to you, that style is kind of like unaware thing, which is very good to identify the author of a document. So this is the question is like, what is topic or style? What feature that we have to use? Should we go with topic or should we go with style-based features? All right, next. So style here can be like a punctuation, function word, lexical feature. So you might be surprised that the use of those kind of thing is kind of like we sometimes not aware of it. So be careful. And then we have a topic here because, well, it will be influenced by our background. If we are computer scientists, probably we love to talk about more on the technology side. But, well, if you are probably a fashion, a stylist, probably you will talk more about fashion, shopping, and so on. All right, next. So, so I did an experiment with 4 different type of data set here. So there are 4 type of data set in which it has a different characteristic in terms of the genre, the author's number, the total of document, the average character per document, and also the average word per document. So the first document here is judgment data set, in which it is a judgment writing from 3 Australian judge. And then it just consists of 3 authors with the total document more than 1,000, and then it's quite long document, and like have like more than 2,000 words per document. And then the second and the third data set is kind of like a subset of Reuters corpus. It is from Newswire, in which it differs in terms of the number of authors, but the rest is kind of like the same. And IMDb 62, in which it is from the IMDb website, consists of movie reviews from 62 authors, and we had quite a lot here, almost like 80,000 documents, but the average word per document is kind of like quite short because it's just like review, right? Right, next. So what I did is actually trying to combine two different approaches in which I apply dataset analysis and feature analysis. So I apply the topic modeling and also feature ablation in order to know the best feature for the most suitable feature for each of the dataset. All right, next. So, well, yeah, the aim of this analysis is basically to quantify the topical divergence between authors in each of the datasets. So, well, you know that in each of the dataset, we have many authors, right? And then the thing we would like to know how different or how similar the topic preferences between authors in the dataset. So this is, the first equation is basically I apply the topic modeling if you're familiar with LDA. And this is to calculate the topic distribution of a particular author. And then once we get the topic distribution, it's basically we just need to apply the Jensen-Shannon divergence, in which we try to calculate the similarity, or, well, it is because divergence is probably the distance between two authors. Right, next. All right, so this is one of the results here. So it's kind of like the confusion matrix. Well, it's confusing, so that's why it's called confusion matrix. So, for example, here I have a CCAT 50 from the CCAT 50 data set. So we had an author here from author 0, from author 49, and the same thing from author 0 to author 49. And this metric is actually explained that, you know, the lighter the spot, it means that it is the same, right? Because diagonally, it is the same. And then you may spot that there are some lines here that quite very distinguished here, in which you have like very dark spot, means that the difference between that author to the other author, the topic preferences is different. So if I'm not mistaken here, for CCAT 50 dataset, why this author 11 here is kind of like having a dark spot, dark lines, it's because the author choose a topic about, if I'm not mistaken, about politics or something, which is not really the preference of the other authors. The next slide would be, this is like the similar thing, but for the IMDb 62 dataset. So you may know that here the author 16 is kind of like a bit different because with the other authors, because this author is kind of like, well, in the review, in IMDb review, you may notice that most of the authors kind of like love to criticize the movie, right? Writing like bad comment about the movie or about the story or about the actor. But surprisingly, this author is kind of like more in the positive review rather than the negative review. So that's why it's different with the other authors. All right, next. All right, so for the feature analysis, so I apply 3 different types of features, which is I group it into 3: style, content, and hybrid. So style here consists of lexical and syntactic, which is, it can be average word length, number of short words. Syntactic can be a frequency of function word, which is I define it in the first place. And then punctuation, also occurrence of punctuation here. While for the content, It's actually I'm using, well, we can say it's a back of word if you're familiar with that. So I use word unigram, word bigrams, word trigrams. And then for hybrid, I use character engrams because character engram has been known that it could capture both style and both content of the author in the document. All right, next. All right, so this is the result. So if you're familiar with the ablation, so it's kind of like for each of the, if you notice there are negative sign there, it means that I remove the features group in the experiment. And then this is the first line, show the how the accuracy when all the features are used. So I use two different approaches here. The first one is a very simple feed-forward neural network, and the second one is logistic regression. So you may know that notice that for the judgment, it's actually we had a style like the most the biggest drop is when the style feature was removed. So that's why it means that in judgment, style feature is very useful. While for the other data set, it seems that for ScienceX 10 and ScienceX 50, content base is more useful. And for IMDb 62, the style also very useful. So you may notice that in the document, in the data set in which the topic is not defined, like, well, IMDb review, well, you couldn't define the topic right because all of them talking about movie. And then the judgment is because of like a judge writing, so it's kind of like quite similar each other. So that's why style is very useful in those type of data set. While for ScienceX 10 and ScienceX 50, because it is from Newswire, so usually authors can like love to set a set of topics. So that's why you may notice that content, the biggest drop is when content feature is removed. All right, next. So it just kind of like additional analysis in which I use Lime. It's one of the library in which we could identify what is given the machine learning, any supervised machine learning algorithm, we could identify what is the most useful features. So, well, in ScienceX 10, as I said before, that content word is very useful. So you may notice that the content word such as Thompson, what else? Well, government, Alcatel has been highlighted with highlighted bolder. So it means that it's more useful in this data set. While for, next. This in IMDb 62, you may notice that here, the one that more useful is more on the, like a function word like okay and that is also and so on. So, well. Okay, next. Well, I guess this is like the end of the talk. So the possible future works that still possible to explore in the authorship attribution is basically first, applying authorship attribution for different language other than English. So, well, you know that NLP research in English has been like progressing very quickly, but surprisingly not for the other language, not for Bahasa, either Malaysia or Indonesia. So sadly, that's why it's kind of like because just for the basic NLP tasks such as like parser, name entity recognition, we may have it. I mean, like just a few. So which is probably is not really good. The precision, the accuracy is not really good. So that's why the development of more advanced NLP type is kind of like not as good as English language. The other thing, the second and third is basically more on the machine learning and deep learning thing. So the second thing is multitask learning for authorship attribution. It's basically trying to use neural network and then to do different tasks. For example, like we use authorship attribution with author profiling in the same time. So in the end of the day, it could help the attribution accuracy to get a better authorship attribution accuracy. So the next thing is neural style transfer for authorship obfuscation. It's basically we try to, if we have given a text, we like to know how to spare it between the style and the topic. And then once we could like spare it both of them, it is easy to do the authorship obfuscation. If you notice that neural style transfer is actually quite popular in the image processing, right? For the the application of Prisma, if I'm not mistaken. Does anyone know? No? Okay. All right. So, well, that's actually what I have today. I still have like probably, I don't know, 25 minutes probably, Bonnie. Yeah, well, but, well, this is all I have for today, but feel free to ask if you have any question, all right? So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the lecture, Bu Yunita. If anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand, and I'll be giving you the mic.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The first time I would like to say I'm so sorry I came late to your presentation. But I have one question about your presentation. I have an English bad. I cannot speak in English very well. So I want to speak Indonesian, okay? I'm so sorry about it. Tadi Ibu sampaikan bahwa satu di antara riset Ibu itu bisa mengenali katakanlah mungkin sejenis gaya bahasa seseorang di dalam menulis. Apakah itu tentang topik atau tentang diri sendiri begitu kan? Nah, apakah memungkinkan riset Ibu itu digunakan sejenis untuk mengetahui, oh iya ini suatu plagiarism karena gaya bahasanya itu punya si A. Oh iya ini suatu plagiarism walaupun topiknya itu katakanlah bukan tentang dia, tapi tentang orang lain, tapi karena gaya bahasa itu punya dia, ini plagiarism. Apakah memungkinkan untuk itu? Saya kira itu yang ingin saya tanyakan perihal riset yang Ibu sampaikan. Lebih kurang terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalan terakhir, nama saya Henry, mahasiswa S3 Ilkom di sini. Terima kasih.
Should I directly answer it? Alright. Mau pakai bahasa Indonesia? Alright. So, well, I've mentioned it in the first, few slides. It actually can be applied for plagiarism detection as well. But it can be more challenging because, well, usually plagiarism detection, it is not like a document per document, but it's one document that, well, people usually mix up with other people writing, right? So the thing is there are two approaches in plagiarism detection called intrinsic and extrinsic approaches in which, well, in the plagiarism detection, which is we could identify until the sentence level, which part of the sentence is actually the writing of others author. So you may check in the PAN forums that I mentioned before. It's actually one of the tasks, one of the shared tasks that have been organized is a plagiarism detection. But well, I guess plagiarism detection has been progressing quite well right now. So and I'm not really following the trend because, well, not really my area. But I guess you can find lots of literature about plagiarism detection and using. I think I remember that there are some papers discussing about authorship attribution for plagiarism detection, and it has been proved that it improved the accuracy for the plagiarism detection tasks itself. All right, it is probably all right. Okay, thank you very much.
Terima kasih, Ibu Yunita. Ada yang ingin saya tanyakan? Nama saya Umar Taufik. Tadi Bu sudah menjelaskan tentang NLP bagus sekali. Saya ingin menanyakan simpel saja Bu. Kalau misalnya saya punya kalimat pakai bahasa Indonesia, bisakah di dalam NLP itu ada rumus apa gitu yang mungkin bisa dipakai agar saya bisa tahu mana subjeknya, mana predikatnya, mana objeknya, mana keterangannya. Tujuan saya itu kalau ada kalimat itu saya bisa tahu siapa ngomong apa atau melakukan apa terhadap apa, kapan, di mana. Gitu. Terima kasih.
Okay, thanks for the question. It's kind of like very simple question, but it's kind of like the answer can be very long. Right. So I guess the task that you refer, we can call it as part of speech taker, part of speech taker. So it's the task is the purpose of the task is actually to assign the part of speech tag, like, well, subject, predikat, object, dan sebagainya, to each word in the sentence. Once we have that, we could easily extract the information from that. For example, we can go back from, I think, the third slide probably. Okay, next, yeah. So it is probably the first task here that you refers to probably. So we have a sentence there, and it's actually what we want is to assign which one is noun. Well, kalau di bahasa Inggris kan biasanya gitu ya, yang mana nounnya, yang mana verbnya, yang mana preposition. While in bahasa, I don't know for Malaysian, but in Indonesia probably we have something like subject, predikat, object, dan seterusnya. And then the second task is probably also relate with your question is name entity recognition, in which we try to identify the entities in the sentence. For example, like here, for the same sentence, when we have to identify which word is referred to the person name, date, and probably if we have any location there, usually name, location, date, event, and so on. And I think, well, this, I don't know if it is answer your question or not really. Well, this kind of like, this two is kind of like quite a basic NLP task in which, well, like I mentioned before, it's not really developed well in Bahasa, but it's already like not many people explore it anymore for English language actually. I don't know, probably it is answering your question. All right, okay.
Any other questions? Ada pertanyaan lagi?
Okay, thank you. My name is Guntur. If I'm not mistaken, the authorship attribution, what I saw from the slides is for one author, yeah? For one author. How if the author is multiple author, something like a paper or maybe a book, yeah? Book can be in multiple author. How authorship attribution handles multiple author? And then the second question is there an unsupervised approach to authorship attribution? Because I also saw from the slides there is a topic modeling, and topic modeling. I think they have also the author topic model approach. So how the top author topic model can solve, I think, the unsupervised approach of authorship attribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So about the, well, yes, you're true. You're right about this document is just written by one author. So, well, I think one of the research is to explore the collaborative writing, like paper with many authors. And I guess it's more challenging, right? Because, well, it is more like a plagiarism detection, but I don't know, because the style on how we write paper, how we have a collaborative work on writing paper probably quite different each other. I mean, like, for example, for me, usually I will write like the whole paper for first, and then once I finish it, I will send it to my supervisor, and then they're gonna have like, well, like just make it beautifying, just like beautifying the writing, or probably comment on the content. So, well, it will be quite challenging, but I think there is an attempt currently to collect the data set from the paper, in which the author is like the first and the second author is kind of like the same, but it's kind of like quite challenging as well, because, well, not many papers has been written by multiple author, the same multiple author. So that's why I think it's still, well, a progress in the one of the progress in the authorship attribution. And about the unsupervised, well, I'm not really sure about that, but I guess for one example of like unsupervised or probably like semi-supervised, we could explore like one-shot learning. One-shot learning, if you ever heard about that, in which is actually we just given like very small size of training data, and then we use it as like, I'm not really sure about how the algorithm works, but if I'm not mistaken, it is more like an active learning. So like using the small size of the data of the training data, we use it to train the model, and we could use it later to create training data from the unlabeled data set. Well, it's probably not really, I'm not really exploring on that area, but it is very interesting to explore, because, well, like authorship attribution, it's not just authorship attribution, because some of the data set is probably very expensive if we have to label it one by one, right? So that's why, well, I guess unsupervised is a very promising approach to explore right now. Right.
I hope that answers your question. We have around 10 more minutes, so if anybody has any other questions.
Thank you. Very good presentation. Um, you mentioned that the research about NLP for Indonesian or Bahasa is not developed very well. And actually, maybe one of the reasons is that the lack of data set. Do you think that there are more challenges? I mean, maybe there are other reasons why the research of NLP in Bahasa is not developed very well, and how do we cope with that challenge? I think that's it. Thank you.
Well, yeah, because I think one of the reason is because of the lack of initiative in Bahasa. So, like I mentioned before, one of the advantage doing research in English is because there are a lot of forums, there are a lot of shared tasks that have been over. So it is easy to join the task, it is easy to get the data set. There are so many people that want to work together in which they have very strong community in that. But I don't think it is happening for, well, in Indonesia or for Bahasa as well. So that's why if we want to initiate, we could, well, try to start with, well, I don't know, share tasks by providing the labeling data set, which is kind of like quite challenging task as well. In fact, that we have a bunch of data set, we have a bunch of information, we have large size data in the internet, and I believe there are a lot of information that we can get from there, in which right now I believe someone from, I don't know, the Big Brother, like using that information instead of us. What I mean Big Brother here is Google, right? Or, well, there is application like a Gojek as well, I believe already having advantage of information that we provide voluntarily. So, well, I guess that I mentioned before is a lack of initiative. So I believe that if we want to start, we have to, well, start from the small thing. And if I'm not mistaken, in Indonesia, is actually there is one of the community from practitioner and also from lecturer side, from academic, in which we have Indonesian Association of Computational Linguistics. They have a, well, WhatsApp group there, but I'm not really sure if they already have like initiatives such as SARTAS in order to solve one of the NLP tasks, as I mentioned before. And interestingly, in the overseas, it's actually like in ACL, Association of Computational Linguistics, they are opposed with they really they want that all the publication is in open. So they don't want to, usually they don't want to join to such a paid journal. But if you can see that the ACL community is actually has its own website called ACL Anthology, in which they have like very good archive on all the publication from their own conferences. They're not playing with journal, but they're playing with annual conference in which the level of acceptance for those conference is very difficult as well. So, well, it is actually, if we have a strong community, you have a good initiative, I guess the research in Indonesia or in Malaysia can be as good as English. Right.
I hope that answers your question. Maybe another question from the students, since we have around 5 more minutes. No? Since there are no more questions, I'll just be ending this for Miss Dr. Yunita. Thank you so much for the insightful lecture. I hope everybody learns a thing or two. Yeah. And off to our next lecture is by Dr. Nurul Hidayah. We welcome you to the stage.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. So, okay, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Nurul Hidayah. I'm from Information Security Department, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology from University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. The short form is UTHM. We usually call it UTHM. So UTHM is situated in a district called Batu Pahat, Johor, Malaysia. So you must be, you are wondering where is Batu Pahat, Johor, UTHM. So, okay. We are situated in south part of Peninsular Malaysia. So this is a Johor state. It's not really close to Singapore. It's, how many hours? 2 hours, yeah. More or less, 2 hours driving from Batu Pahat to Singapore, and maybe 1 hour to Johor Bahru. And from Batu Pahat to Kuala Lumpur, it's like more or less 3 hours driving. Okay. Yeah, so this is our university. So if you have time, you can come and visit us. All right. Okay, so next, for today's lecture, this is my plan for today's lecture. I have four parts, so these are the outline. For the part one, I'm going to talk about rise of the emerging technologies. So it's more on implications of emerging technologies to incident handling and digital forensics. I'm using a routine activity theory to explain about it. And part two, an overview of digital forensics and mobile device forensics. I'm not sure if you you have a course about digital forensics or mobile forensics in here. You do? Do you have? Yeah. All right, good. And part three, I'm going to talk about one case study. So this is about forensic analysis of mobile communication apps, specifically on Android platform. And part four, if we have sufficient time, we might have one discussion activity. But this, for part four, depends on the time. I hope we can have the sufficient time to do the discussion activity. Okay. So, rise of the emerging technologies. So, emerging technologies is not a new thing. We have talked about emerging technologies for past decades. Okay, started with the visualization. We have also talked about cloud computing. If you still remember, 10 years ago, when cloud started becoming a phenomenon, everyone is, was nervous, like, is cloud safe, secure, and so forth. So emerging technologies have evolved from technology advancements coupled with innovative approaches to delivering computing services. So take the cloud computing as an example. Is cloud computing really, is all the infrastructure in cloud computing a new thing? It's just a combination, right, from you know, the virtualization, servers, the client servers, distributed computing, and so forth, then we have the cloud computing. And now, in 2018, from NISA, NISA is European National Institution Standard, yeah, something like that. So a study from NISA, the top 7 emerging technologies are Internet of Things, IoT. Everyone is talking about IoT now. Okay, everywhere you go, we talk about IoT. Autonomous system, next generation virtualized infrastructure, the societal challenges, virtual and augmented reality, Internet of Bio-Nano Things, and AI and robotics. So these are the top 7 technologies in 2018. And now, when it comes to information security, yeah, I'm from Information Security Department, so definitely my scope about security incidents. So with the emerging technologies, okay, there will be cyber incidents which related to the emerging technologies itself, okay? And from Online Trust Alliance, this is also quite recent study in 2018, the top cyber incident trends are rise in ransom-based attacks, okay? Ransomware, for example, all right? Still, the patching, about the patching issue, where there are still some organizations or users who do not do the patch to update their security features, I mean the security tools features. Reliance on third-party cloud-based services without, maybe this is something like without knowing the security and privacy policy. User-enabled attacks. Okay, so this is about how the attacker use the weaknesses of human or users, okay, to exploit the attack. And also with the increase in IoT devices, because usually for IoT devices, it will use default passwords and encrypted data, so it becomes the platform for attacker to exploit. So why do we really need to concern about security incidents? Okay, I give you one example. So this is about Target data breach. So Target is actually a retail organization. So it was in 2013 when there was a massive data breach that a cyber attacker has accessed the Target's gateway and able to extract many valuable data such as credit card numbers, the customer's credit card numbers, and so forth. So, following the incident, it has cost Target around $18.5 million, right? And the total cost, actually the total cost including everything, had been almost $202 million. Refers to the motivated hacker. So there must be a attack